All right, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to today's webinar. It's a live Kintone product tour. So we're going to take that tour in just a few minutes, but before I turn it over to my colleague, Jana, just want to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. So you should see your attendee interface on your computer desktop. It's in the upper right-hand corner. You're most likely listening in using your computer speaker system by default, but if you'd prefer to join over the phone, just select telephone in the audio pane and the dial-in information will be displayed. You can submit any text questions you have by typing your questions into the questions pane of the control panel. And feel free to send in those questions at any time during the webinar, anytime a question comes up. Just go ahead and enter them. We'll collect them and address them during the Q&A session at the very end. All right, now that we are all settled here, I want to tell you a little bit more about Kintone first. So Kintone is a digital workspace that enables teams to rapidly build and deploy custom business applications. What's so neat about the Kintone platform is that it empowers business leaders to create custom solutions with little or no coding skills in a secure, IT-governed environment. Really, all it takes to get started is an idea. So to see what this all looks like in action, I'm going to hand you over to Jana.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Nicole, for the great introduction and telling everyone a little bit about Kintone. I'm here to show you what we can do in action. And the first thing I really want to say, just to piggyback on what Nicole mentioned a moment ago, this is a completely configurable platform. So all the applications that you build and the workflows are custom based on your specific requirements. Even the splash page right here, you have complete control over what kind of image you want on this backsplash. You can name the subdomain anything you'd like. The only thing that remains Kintone is your subdomain.kintone.com. I'm logging in today as Bill. So that's going to come up a little bit later in the demo. A couple of things I want to show you on the administration side. Adding users is very easy. You just go to Departments and Users under User Administration, add a new user, and input the display name, the login name, and the email address if appropriate. And then you can scroll over to the Administrators tab and make any one of these folks an administrator. So if you decide, and we hope that you do, decide to join us and test out Kintone with a free trial, this is how you can invite your team to join you. This is a very collaborative platform, and we invite you to share the platform with your teams, with cross-departmental teams, and really get a feel for the production, all of the efficiencies that you can achieve by automating these processes that you're currently doing manually. We have two-factor authentication. Just want to talk a little bit about security. Client certificates are available for two-factor authentication on any device. We fence off the IP, so no one can access that unless they have the client certificate on that device. And we do have mobile applications available for Android and iOS, and I'll talk a little bit more about those when we get into the actual demo. For the audit logs, this is where you can view and download system-wide audit logs. And localization is interesting because we're owned by a public Japanese company that designed Kintone for the US market. But in terms of communicating with very distributed global teams, localization comes in real handy because it localizes your language. So we have English, Japanese, and simplified Chinese, with more languages coming out soon. So if there's something specific that you'd like to see here, please let us know. Absolutely. Now going up to this cloud icon, I go right into the platform. And here we are. The first thing you really notice is the announcement board. This is a fantastic place for all your dashboarding, for reports, for charts, for KPIs. You can include attachments. You can mention people to give notifications to them. And I'll get into notifications. We've got a huge collaboration portion of this platform that's inherent throughout almost everything that we do in order to bring teams together and promote better teamwork globally. We want to centralize your information so you always know where to find it. And this is a great place to start. Down beneath the announcement board, we have notifications. And I told you I'd get into these in a couple of different ways, but notifications come to you in one of 3 different ways in the Kintone platform. The first is through this bell on the upper left-hand corner, and that lights up with a number that signifies how many notifications that are directed to you, so you know what's going on, who's trying to contact you, and what it's about. You can also get a push notification on the cell phone or tablet. If you've downloaded our Android or iOS application, we're also mobile web ready for other platforms. And third, you can get an email from Kintone to let you know that you have a notification. Completely depends how you want to interact with the platform, or really how you want the platform to interact with you. Spaces. I'm going to skip the top one just for a moment and go into Spaces, as this is a great way to segregate data. You could do this by project. You could do this by department. It completely depends how you want to set up the subdomain, and we've got professionals and experts to walk you through best practices and really determine how to best set up the platform correctly from the get-go to ensure your success moving forward and as you continue to grow. And then we have the applications. The applications are really the heart of the platform, as this is where we start. If you click on the plus sign, you'll see one of 5 ways to create an application. And the first way is from our marketplace, which is really a free library of pre-built applications that you can always further customize based on your specific requirements. We put the library together based on requests that we were receiving over and over and over again, and we just saw such a common thread. We wanted to make these readily available for a really fast start in order to get your project going, all without coding. The second way I want to point out right away is creating from an Excel or a CSV file. This is probably one of our most popular features because people are constantly talking about managing their projects on Excel or trying to manage their projects off of Excel and just frankly getting a little overwhelmed. There's so many different worksheets and tabs and spreadsheets in general, and who's got the latest version and who's responsible for the next action, and it just becomes overwhelming. So in order to take that data, transform it via one-step conversion into a live application that you always have the latest version, you always know where the process stands, who's responsible for the next steps, and how to produce results on the reporting data in real time and collaborate, of course. This is just a great way to get your projects going. Creating from a template or creating from an existing application are both the existing applications, duplicating apps maybe for a different space, but not duplicating the data. And last, creating an app from scratch. This is part of our drag and drop utility, which I'll show you in just a little bit. It's really straightforward, very user-friendly and intuitive. We have about 23 fields that you can choose from and literally drag and drop them onto a form on the right, and they all have attributes that you can append, and I'll show you this momentarily. Exiting out of here, I actually want to dive into some of my records that I'm actively working in my Projects 2 application. You see as I hover over that this is live, and I have 4 records that I'm actively working in this application. So when I click on the report, it takes me to those 4 records, those specific records in the application that I want to see. So I'm looking at a view for all projects. Now, views are great, especially when you're talking about the Excel conversion. You might have so many fields of data, and they might not all be the most relevant to everyone doing a specific job in the same spreadsheet or Kintone application at this point. So you can set a view, again with our drag and drop utility, to bring the fields of data onto the form on the right that are most relevant for your job. So when you log in, you see what you need to see to get this project going and move on with your day. So if I click on the Marina project, I'm looking at the record detail view. And this is what my record looks like. I have attachment fields, I have multi-choice, and down below I have related records. These are fantastic for bringing information from one application into your application you're currently working in. Let me show you what this looks like from the administrative perspective and get underneath the hood a little bit in the Kintone platform. So as an administrator, I have rights and privileges to dive into the application settings. But what I want to do first is go to my form and show you that drag and drop utility I just mentioned a few moments ago. Radio buttons, multi-choice, calculation fields, related records and lookup fields. Related records are the field types I was just talking about. And this is our time spent field. This is actually a table of multiple fields put together. Oops, excuse me. Put that back where it was. And I want to go to my settings and show you how this is set up. So the data source application I'm pulling from is actually a timesheet application where people submit the times they've worked on XYZ project. And in order to get the project criteria from my timesheets application into my project application to see the times that people worked on the Marina project, which is the record that I'm in, I want the project names to match. This is the fetch criteria, so I need this field in both applications. Once I have that defined, I need to select the fields I want to display from the data source application, which is my timesheets application. So the created date, the associate, the total hours worked, the summary of work accomplished, the status, etc. These are the fields that I want to see. So when I go ahead and save my form and update my app, you always want to update the app, and I go back into the Marina record, you'll see that this is pulling from my timesheets application all of the times that these individuals have worked on this particular project. What's great about related records is if I wanted to see all the times that Mark worked, I could simply click on the record for Mark Peters and be taken to the timesheets application and see all the times that Mark worked. Now, lookup fields are a little different. They pull information from a data source application into the primary application you're working in, but it's a one-time pull. So if I wanted to say Mark Peters was pulled into my project application, perhaps his contact information would auto-populate via the lookup field from Mark Peters' record. And that's the difference between related records and lookup fields. I'm going to change my app settings and talk about notifications. There's 3 main types of notifications in the Kintone platform, and these are general notifications. Just to start out, are you interested in being notified if a comment is posted, if a new record is added or edited, or perhaps if there's a status change. You can always be notified or determine if you don't want to be notified if a new comment is posted. If you are mentioned in a comment, you'll get that notification anyway. Per record notification are action-based. So if you have a status field in the application, and you can do this around any field in the app, you can, here's my status field, if this includes rejected, then I, Bill, who I'm logged in as today, wants to be notified, please review this record. So who do you want to be notified, and what do you want the notification to say? And then we have time-based notifications, which go around date and time fields in the application. And that can be set a reminder 30 days prior to license renewal. I want to be notified. Something I haven't touched on, and a key pillar to the Kintone platform, is our process management. So if I go into the sales leads management, I had one task assigned to me. This is going to take me to that view of the records assigned to me. Now, as an end user, what I need to do is take action by confirming I sent the quote to the customer. From the administrative perspective, I want to set the flow. So if I go into my process management, and you always want to enable process management, you want to set the different statuses that this project can be in at any point in time. This can always be updated and changed. These can be moved around as appropriate. And at the bottom in section 3, you want to set the flow. So who is responsible for taking this next action? And what is the next action, or what could the next action be? In this case, you've got two possibilities. The quote could be approved, or the quote needs to be changed. If the quote is approved, you send the quote to the customer. If the quote needs changing, you can draft the quote to be created and resubmit your quote. So setting up who's responsible and how to move these tasks along to the next status. That's really all the time we have. We went through a lot of information very quickly, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Please reach out to me anytime, and please join us to try out Kintone with a free trial. You can reach me at Jana, that's Jana, at kintone.com. Thanks so much, and I'll hand it back to Nicole.
All right, thanks so much, Jana. That was an awesome walkthrough. Lots of different functionalities shown there. So now's the perfect time to start sending in your questions. If there's anything you'd like to see in more detail, either today, send those in, we'll answer them live on the spot. Or if you'd like to see something closer up with a one-on-one, you can also reach out to myself or Jana at kintone.com. So I'm just going to give you guys a couple moments here to formulate your questions. In the meantime, I see that some people had responded. I asked about weather on the East Coast, and looks like not the best weather in New Jersey. I can believe that. And then Chicago, Midwest, doesn't look like the snowstorm hit all that way. Actually, I'm not quite sure. I'm from Chicago. I should probably call my parents and check. But glad you guys are braving the storm, and especially glad that you're here today. So send your questions our way. We'll be waiting. All right, so take your time if you're still working on your question here, but we're just going to go ahead and dive in with this first one. So a question about pricing and if there's a limit for how many records you can have. So yeah, Jana, why don't you hop in? I know pricing can vary, so I'll let you handle that.
Sure, pricing is $24 per user per month, and we consider a user anyone who has a login and password. As far as the records per application, we started at 50,000 records per application. That does have some flexibility based on what you're looking to accomplish and what package you're going for. The professional is starting at 50,000 records. Our enterprise starts at 100,000 records per application. I hope that helps answer your question, but if you want to talk offline about your specific requirements, happy to jump on a call anytime.
Great, thanks, Jana. Another question about using Kintone on an iPad or smartphone. What does that look like?
It looks great. If you download the Kintone application from the Android or iOS store, you're getting the mobile version. So it's build once, deploy everywhere instantly. So when you've built an application, it's automatically available on the cell phone, on the tablet, anything that you guys want to do. And if you get a notification, it takes you directly to the record the notification is in response to. So you don't have to go searching around, what am I looking for? It's a really great way, and it's also available during the free trial. So I invite you to download the application for your cell phone or tablet during your free trial. We'd love your feedback.
Great. Another question here about why should I go with Kintone for a custom solution as opposed to building it out with a developer or developer services is the question.
We really provide you the tools to build exactly what you want, to centralize the communications around this, to build and execute a process around the application, and it's all at a completely reasonable cost that you can collaborate with cross-departmental teams and move processes forward. And it's simple to get started. It's fun to use.
It's quick,
and
right?
I don't know why you would go anywhere else. Yeah, it's really quick.
Yeah, compared to how long it takes developers often to roll it out, Kintone is quick and you can iterate it on the fly too. If you have changes to your process along the way,
Absolutely.
it's easy to
It's
make that happen.
iterative. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the question.
And this goes into another question about how easy is it to scale my operation with Kintone?
Oh, absolutely. Kintone grows with you. Like I said, we charge per user per month, not per application. So the more processes you want to automate and you put onto the Kintone platform, the more value you will receive from your investment. And this could be from CRM, this could be inventory management, this could be project management, you name it. It's really an opportunity to automate processes across your organization. Digital transformation has to start somewhere, and streamlining operations is a great way to do that at a reasonable cost and get everybody on the same page. So I think that moves an organization forward in a number of ways.
Awesome. And to that note, to hear customer stories of how they've done this on their own, either on their own and or with support of the Kintone team, you should check out our customer stories. It's on our homepage, kintone.com, and hear it straight from their mouths of how Kintone has helped them scale their operation and what they're using it for. There's so many different ways. Again, it starts with an idea and you go from there. So great. It looks like we have time for one more question here. Let's see. How does Kintone keep my data secure?
We have a lot of security protocols in place. As I mentioned, we have the two-factor authentication just in order to access the data once it's in the platform. But we also encrypt our data in flight and at rest. So there's no way that anyone can get to the data. Everything is completely separate and secured. We are really proud of our security protocols and happy to go into any in-depth conversation with security teams as appropriate as well.
Thank you. Yeah, we work with a lot of enterprises who have really strict data requirements, and we are able, we get the questionnaire, we fill those out, and we're able to pass those. So certainly if we can pass those tests, we are definitely very sensitive to keeping your data secure. So great. Well, looks like that's all the time we have for questions. Thank you so much, Jana. And
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you to everyone attending today's webinar. If you have any more questions, you can send them to Jana, that's Jana at kintone.com. And of course, now that this information is fresh on your mind, it's a great time to sign up for a free 30-day Kintone trial to start practicing building apps and workflows. Try it out for yourself. Really see how quick and easy it is, and fun, of course, as Jana mentioned, to start building out some really cool database apps. So you can do that by going to kintone.com/trial. And you'll also receive an email in the next 24 hours with this webinar recording. So you can always go back and watch if you wanted to see something a little bit more in more detail. And I'll also send you some advice on how to get started for free right away. So on behalf of Kintone and our presenter, thank you very much for joining us, and have a fantastic rest of your day. Stay safe for all of you enduring that East Coast weather, okay? Thanks so much, everyone. Bye-bye.